Everything in all creation belongs to God. The Bible says this in Isaiah 43, verse 7, everyone who is called by my name, whom I have created for my glory. You are created for God's glory. Listen to me very carefully. That implies that God is not created for your glory. That's a paradigm shift that a lot of people don't get in American Christianity. Jesus is the story. Now let me break that down for you personally. Do you know what that means? That means that your job is not your job. It's God's assignment for you. That means that your money is not yours. It's God's money. Let me get more personal. That means that your body is not yours. It's God's. Do you know what that means? Even more personal, that if your body is not your body, guess what? Your sex life is not your sex life. It is not up to you to decide who you're gonna have sex with. It is not up to you to decide what your gender is. It is not up to you to decide when you die. It is not up to you to decide when that child inside of you dies. We're living in a culture where people who reject God's authority over their body are celebrated as heroes and champions. We give them courage awards for breaking out of God's sovereignty in this area, and we're betting on our own sovereignty in our bodies and in our money, and I guarantee you it's gonna fail, because guess what? This is not something new. They are not blazing new trails of human freedom. This is as old as the book of Leviticus and Deuteronomy. This is as old as ancient Greece and ancient Rome, and it did not go well for them, and it will not go well for us, because we are not our own. We belong to God, and there's a responsibility that comes with that, and we've got to learn how to live our lives in accordance with His will. In our culture, there are two sides, and because God is above it all, that means that God is not a Republican. Because what do the Republicans tell you? It's your money. It's your money. And we're gonna make sure that we're gonna keep taxes low and cut tight entitlement programs and make government so small you can't even see it, so that you can keep as much of your money as possible. And God says they're wrong. It's my money. And guess what? God's not a Democrat either. Because what do the Democrats tell you? It's your body, and you have the right to do with it what you want, and you have the right to treat your body any way that you want, and we're gonna make sure that the government will provide health care for you and make sure that you can do whatever you want. Isn't it funny how when we tried that, when our country decided to provide health care for all of our country, they made sure to include contraception? What's the underlining meaning there? The meaning is now we're gonna make sure you can do whatever you want with your body, and it's our responsibility to take care of you. Imagine if the Republicans and the Democrats both flipped their messages. Just think about that for a second. Imagine if the Democrats told you, no, control your body. And imagine if the Republicans flipped their message and said, no, it's not your money, so share as much as you possibly can. Imagine a country, imagine a society where everybody controlled their body and shared their money. The problem is America's becoming a country where everybody controls their money and shares their body. If you start to say, no, wait a second, God commands us to share everything with everybody except our body. You have a nation without AIDS, you have a nation without disease, you have a nation without STDs, you have a nation without divorce rates, you have a nation without fornication and pornography and sex trafficking, and you have a generous and prosperous and awesome nation to live in where everybody has everybody else's back. God's above Democrats, God's above Republicans, because He says both of them are wrong. It's not yours, it's mine. And everything is God's, and everything is made for God's glory. And listen, this is why He says it, because nobody loves you like God. And He says, if you do this stuff my way, it will go well with you. I will prosper you. I will benefit you. And your life will be a blessing to other people. But when you step outside of God's plan for your life, your body, your money, that's where the disaster happens. And many of you have experienced that in your own life or experiencing it right now. And I'm trying to tell you that when you learn that you're made for God's glory and you start to do things God's way, your life inevitably starts to leave a legacy of righteousness behind you for your generations to come after you. It starts, though, with understanding it's God's. And you can reject that all you want. It doesn't change that. It's still God's, even when you disagree that it's God's.